Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Turnbucklepad. Welcome back to its first ever podcast episode. And today, I got me a special guest. This man's reputation precedes him, and you're never let down when you see this man work. I want you to welcome my guest today, Mr. Ruff Crossing. Welcome to the show, Ruff.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Now, Ruff, you've been in the business for how long now?
Just about 12 years.
12 years. Now, tell us a little bit of what it was like when you came in starting out in the business and compared to the way things are now and the way people are coming into the business.
Well, the one thing I've noticed the most is, I've been wrestling about 12 years now, and I write down my matches. I know how many matches I've had, and I ask a lot of the newer guys how many matches they had when I'm on shows with them and get to work with them. And it baffles me sometimes on how many guys that have been in the business 6 months have already, like 50 or 60 matches under their belt. Which, it's cool, but sometimes to me, you're not ready to be out in front of a crowd. Whereas before, when I broke in, it took me 6 months to be training before I even got an actual match on a show. Back when I broke in, it was, you trained, and if you had somewhat of some talent within like a month, you were in the Battle Royal, which you don't see that anymore on shows. Again, there's so many green kids that it's okay, this guy can have a match with this green kid, where back in my day it was, we got 7 or 8 green kids, fine, we're going to have a Battle Royal, and you're going to get beat up. And that's pretty much, they didn't beat us up, but, we got beat up, and you don't see that nowadays on the scene anymore.
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of different other workers in the business that the way training was done back then and the dues you had to pay and the way you had to prove yourself, it had a lot to do with whether or not you were ready to be out there.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say they beat our ass, but, they beat our ass, you know.
Learned.
And the guy even told me, I'm going to hit you harder every time, and if you keep coming back, then I know you want to be here. And he just, nowadays you do that, and the guy, he's an asshole, you can't, it's a lost art to me.
Well, it's pretty obvious that right now the way wrestling's evolved from, let's say, the 80s till now, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of differences coming into play, and we've seen the way it affects business. And people that come into it, and the workers we see on TV, and the people we see at a local show. Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, what's the main thing do you think that's holding people back from getting to a place where they should be or need to be?
I don't know. See, it's a tough question. I don't know. It's weird because guys, to me, wrestling, when I watched wrestling, everything, it was that secret. And guys, the kayfabe, guys, everybody was a mystery. You didn't know how the person really was. And guys that were legit badasses were legit badasses. And now, guys, it's, social media, and you see social media everywhere. And guys, you see them all the time. You know what they're doing. You know this, you know that. And to me, it takes the suspense, the mystery from the guys. Like, if you know what a guy's doing all the day, you're buddies with him, how are you supposed to believe him when you see him on TV? Where back in the day, you didn't see a guy talking about what he was doing and where he was. You saw what you saw, and that's what you believed in.
Yeah.
I think that's what wrestling is missing nowadays.
Do you think because kayfabe is dead, and now what makes wrestling special is exposed, do you think it makes it harder to keep it special?
Yes. It's not kayfabed anymore, but me, for instance, I try to kayfabe wrestling as much as I can, character-wise, for me, because I don't, I have a Twitter, I have a Facebook, but I'm not on Twitter and Facebook telling everybody what I'm doing all the time. It's nobody's business. To me, Ruff Crossing is a wrestler. This is what I do, and here's what I'm going to be doing. This is who I'm going to be beating. I'm promoting myself for wrestling, not what Ruff Crossing's doing at the gym or what bar I'm drinking at, and I don't care about that. I don't know why other people should too.
Well, so do you think that maybe it's part of the problem that wrestling's in the position that it is because of the workers that come in? They don't know how to separate their professional from their personal?
I think a little bit of that too, but even just being the professionalism where they, I've heard from other guys that WWE wants you on Twitter and they want you letting people know they want the people to know what you're doing. And I don't agree with that. There's nothing special to that. You see The Undertaker on Facebook and Twitter posting what he's doing? No, he's he's a dying breed. He's one of the last guys that, you know, you still believe that guy is a dead man.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, last of a dying breed. Now, Ruff, tell us what's like the first moment you had in your career when you were starting out that you knew that you were where you wanted to be?
I want to say I was probably a little over a year in the business, and the company I was with at the time, I was 21 years old, and, you know, they put the strap on me, and they said, hey, you know, you're over, we're giving you the ball, like, let's run with it. And I was just kind of in shock, but like, hey, you know, all right, I'm doing something right if somebody's got faith in me to do this, and took the ball and ran.
Have you had to have a dream match yet? Maybe they'll do something that you've always wanted to do?
No, not necessarily a dream match. You know, I mean, I grew up watching 80s wrestling, so anytime I get to just share a locker room or share some stories with guys from the 80s back when wrestling was fucking wrestling, you know, to me that's awesome. Just this past weekend, I wrestled for Dreamwave Wrestling, and, you know, I'm a heel there. And Big Van Vader was on the show.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm in a 6-man tag, you know, 3-on-3. I came in and beat up a guy a little bit and took a few bumps, and that was it. And I got back in the locker room, and Vader pulls me aside, and he goes, hey, brother, you look like you're murdering guys in the ring. Are you? And I'm just, nah, dude, I'm not light, but I'm not killing them. And he goes, hey, but, you know, it's all right. If you got to kill somebody, you kill them. But he's like, no, you remind me of Stan Hansen a little bit with that aggression. And I'm like, wow. Never did I imagine, you know, teenager Rough Crossing, I'd be standing here, Vader putting me over, you know, and a compliment like Stan Hansen, that's, you know, it's...
It kind of goes to show, you know, I mean, like any business or any kind of job you get into, you have to have a passion for it, a knowledge, a something for it. And it seems like Vader really won you over, you know. You proved that you have what it takes, you get it, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and that's one of my big pet peeves in wrestling is, you know, like, yeah, everybody knows it's a work, but I want people to sit there and second guess it going, is he really hitting him? Is he? And if Big Van Vader can come up to me and ask me, hey, are you killing guys? Then, shit, gives me the old Barry Horowitz pat on the back for once.
Well, now, Ruff, in the last previous seasons, we've always had one question we have always asked all our guests, and I believe this question is essential for the future wrestlers of this business who are listening, because you never know who you might be inspiring and who might be listening or paying attention to you.
Okay.
The question is this: what advice would you give to someone that's new in the business or someone that's just coming into the business?
Well, in the 12 years almost that I've been wrestling, the only advice I can tell anybody, if you want to be a wrestler, is get your ass in the gym. Because if you do not work out or do not look somewhat like an athlete, nobody will care about you. And I don't have the perfect body, but I make up for it where I lack. And, I mean, again, I've been 12 years and I'm still on the independent scene. Obviously, there's something lacking, and I know what it is. It's the body. Because if you look at everybody that's on TV or people that have gone somewhere and that are doing something, they all have bodies. And that's what wrestlers look like nowadays. So get your ass in the gym and work out.
Golden words. Well, we got to wrap it up, but Ruff, we thank you so much for taking the time out to be our first guest on our first Turnbucklepad podcast. Fans, Rough Crossing is not a hard man to find. You can go into Google, type in his name, go into Facebook, go into Twitter. You'll find this man. YouTube as well. Until then, fans, this is Mike Stover, and this is Mr. Rough Crossing. We thanks for having you on the show.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, everybody.
Till then, fans, we're out. Peace.